Hey, thanks everyone for coming. I want to thank Indian for getting me out here, put this great festival together. And I don't know if you're musicians or want to be in the music business, or you're on the music business, or writers, but I'm really glad you're all here. I'm from New Jersey. I grew up in New Jersey. I kind of got everything going from there. I used to mow lawns when I was 12 years old. I knocked on someone's door one day, and his lawn was like really high, and I knocked on his door. I said, "You want your lawn mowed?" Because I used to mow lawns for $5 a pop. And he goes, "No, I do it myself." I said, "I don't think so." I said, "It looks a little long." He goes, "Oh, you know, like a smart ass." He goes, "No, I do it myself." I said, he goes, "I'll tell you what, if you mow my lawn for the season, I'll give you this camera." And he came out with this Bell & Howell Canon camera. And I looked at it like, I had no interest in camera photography at the time. And I said, "Wow." He's like, "Yeah, all right, I'll do it." After like 6 cuts, he gave me the camera, and I started playing around with it, taking pictures of my dog and my brother who used to ride motorcycles. And you know, I did that for a while. And that's kind of where I got the attraction to it. Like, I couldn't believe, like, I started developing pictures. I asked my 8th grade teacher if he would teach me how to do it. They had a dark room. So going into that, I don't know if anyone knows about the dark room these days, but it's like a magical cylinder. You go in and it's like you're in space, and you like go in there and you turn it, and you think you're on like Star Trek or something. So it was cool. Red lights, you put a piece of paper in a tray with water, pretty much, chemicals, D76, and then fixer to make it solid. And you got magic in front of you. You see something comes right out from you. I'm like, wow, this is cool for a 12-year-old kid. It's pretty cool. So I did that for a bit until I got a little bored of doing that. Taking pictures of your dog and your brother riding the motorcycle, and people wanting their picture and all that. Family events. So a long story short, I started going to concerts. A couple years later, it was 1974, Elton John played. I stuck my camera in. I'm like, I'm going to go. It was Thanksgiving night, and me and my friend skipped out of Thanksgiving dinner early, hopped on a train, and we got on the train. We got in there. We got some cheap seats and stuck my camera in. We sat really far back, and I managed to get a few shots. And it's like, in my book, there's one photo of 1974 of Elton John at Madison Square Garden. He's really small, but I caught a moment. Unfortunately, I ran out of film because I got so excited, and John Lennon showed up at the end and played his last show at the Garden, I think it was. So I learned quickly in life always to have that extra roll of film. There wasn't digital back then where you can shoot thousands of pictures. It's 36 pictures in a roll. And one day that's going to be a good Jeopardy question, like how many frames on a roll, 24 and 36. I should have asked you guys, and you get a prize for that. But anyway, it's 36. And you had to, buy film, and you had to develop it. And if it was color, Ektachrome, you'd have to get it processed, and it was an ordeal. It's not as easy as it is today. So anyway, Elton John and Peter Frampton played. I had nosebleed seats, and then I said, you know what, I'm going to shoot black and white. And I figured, I'll stay up in the nosebleed seats, I'll take the picture and I'll just blow it up real big, I couldn't really see them, but I figured in the larger I'll blow it up and it'll be fine. Little did I know, it's all grain. I couldn't even tell who it was, Another lesson that I learned. And then from then on, I said, all right, now I gotta get in combat mode and move forward, try to get in the front. And Aerosmith was the next show in 1976. I was, I think, a sophomore in high school. Got it, all the kids were going. It was a big ordeal back then, going to concerts. Everyone, they wore the shirts, there was the record stores, it was a fun time. Everyone got on the party train and had some, drinks. It was fun. It was really fun. And I was the kid that was trying to get in the concert, and then I knew I had to get close. So with Aerosmith, I got really close, and not that close, but close enough that I got something that I could show the kids in class what I did. And I did, and they were like, wow, that's really cool, and I started getting interest. I started getting some attention because I was kind of a shy kid back when I was younger. And Then the next show was Peter Frampton. I got even closer. I'm like, wow, these are, then the girls, this is 77 when Peter was on fire, the live album came out. And I had really good shots. And then they were like, do you want to sell any? And I'm like, okay, I'll sell some, $1 a piece, So then I started selling them out of my high school locker. Teachers were cool. I put a little sign on, Peter Frampton, Aerosmith, that's all I had at the time. Quickly enough, within the year, I had Led Zeppelin and Kiss and Electric Light Orchestra, Judas Priest, anyone, not Judas Priest, that was later, but anyone that played the Garden and then the Capitol Theater locally, I would sneak my cameras in, pay the guy a few bucks, and then like get really close to the front and take some good shots, stay up all night and sell them. Until Kiss played 3 nights. In 1977, I went the first night, and then the second night I went and sold the pictures, and I got arrested for selling pictures with all the bootleggers, so I went to jail overnight. I'm like, okay. They said, all right, if you want your pictures back, you're gonna have to go to the court, and so I'm like, all right, just hold on to the pictures, and that was it. Now what am I gonna do? I used to read Circus Magazine back in the day. It was like the biggest rock and roll magazine, and I was like, why not? Knock on the door, the secretary took a liking to me. She goes, oh, you know what, you came at a good time. Why don't you wait around, I'll tell the art director, Al Rudolph, and I don't remember many names, but that one I remember because it changed my life. And I said, he goes, I waited like 3 hours. He says, hey, thanks for waiting. He goes, let me see your stuff. So I showed him my not a lot I had at the time, but I showed it to him. He's like, oh, I like what you got, but you have to shoot this kind of film and do this, shoot it with a flash, and when you have something, come back. 6 months later, Aerosmith, Ted Nugent, and Mahogany Rush played at the Giant Stadium, and I stuck my camera in, and I got some great shots. Now at that point, Aerosmith wasn't really letting a lot of photographers in. It was their dark days, so they weren't really giving photo passes out. So I had photos that no one else had, and they needed pictures because they were really hot. They were playing stadiums. So I left it. I didn't think much of it. Maybe 3 months later, the secretary goes, Marianne, said, go to the newsstand. I said, why? She goes, just go to the newsstand and pick up the magazine. The Beatles are on the cover. It was the October 1978 issue. I went there, I looked at it, I flipped through, I looked at the table of contents. It said, Steven Tyler centerfold. And I'm like, okay. And it was a centerfold of Steven Tyler with my name on it, Mark Weiss. And that was like an experience that I'll never forget, just seeing my name on there. And then I kept going. There was a picture of Ted Nugent, a full page. And then all the other photographers that I looked up to at the time were in there too, but I had the biggest picture in the magazine. So I knew I knew I wanted more and more. And then they started using more pictures. Then AC/DC was out there, and Ted Nugent. And I just got my picture in every issue, and they started getting to know me. A few months later, Van Halen played, or 6 months later, and they hired me to do an assignment to shoot the show. Did some pictures of Eddie Van Halen backstage, which you'll see up here. And I met them, and they were just starting out, and I got the ball rolling with that. Steven Tyler later on saw the photo in the magazine, and he liked it, so their management company, Lieber Krebs, said, Steven likes your photos, you want to, let's do some other things. So that got that ball rolling, and to this day I still am very good friends with Steven and still work with him and all that. I try to keep my relationships. I don't want to say try, but I do keep my relationships until they tell me to go away. And you got to be a squeaky wheel. You got to know when to push the boundaries, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but if you don't go, you don't know. If you don't say something to them, you just got to ask. You got to be that guy that because if you don't know, if you don't do it, you just got to try. I know nobody likes to be rejected. I don't like to be rejected, but I've learned you have to speak up. Sometimes it's uncomfortable. And these days, with the internet and with letters, it's a little easier. You can hide behind your words, and it kind of made me shine a little bit because I can really get my thoughts out. Where in person, I had a hard time back in the day. But whatever it took to get where I got, it really worked for me. And people seem to take to me and trust me. And all I want to do, I'm just a fan. I just want to be around these guys and and be in the front, which is the best shot. And then when you can get on stage, that's even better. And when Steven Tyler says, Mark, get on stage, and he pulls you up, and you're feeling like, really? It's like, like he doesn't care because he wants the shot. It's kind of cool.